I'm going to use that and just call it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the December Planning Commission meeting for the town of Fortville. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:30 on our official clock. I understand that I think maybe we're a minute or two behind, but we'll call it at 6:30. If everybody would stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Republic, which is the one nation. Microphones. Alex, can you hear us on the mics? Excellent. Thank you very much. If we could go through roll call, Andy, please.
Dan Justice. Jason Stein.
Present.
Brittany Layton.
Present.
Nathan Sturdevant.
Present.
Amanda Jeschke.
Here.
Mike Seibert. Jason Snyder.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, appreciate everyone showing up tonight for the December Plan Commission meeting. We've got one new item on the docket for us tonight. Before we get started, Alex, quick question. We have 4 of us. Can we establish quorum as that's the majority of the Plan Commission? Or I know Dr. BZA in the past. I just want to make sure that that is enough to establish quorum for us to move forward.
It is. You have a majority of the 7, so you are
Okay.
set.
Need to establish. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right. Moving through the agenda, if I can pull it up, I would like to look to approve the meeting. We're going to approve the meeting agenda for tonight. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the meeting agenda as stated.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. All right. Now I'd like to take a look at the last meeting minutes, which was not last month's. It was the August, I think it's August 29, 2023 meeting minutes. Note any clarifications, changes. If not, I would look for a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion carries. I guess number 5, we'll go ahead and have to skip. Is that correct? With our new member no longer present, we'll push that to the January meeting. Okay. So our newest member, Mike Seibert, is not in attendance. We were going to swear him in. But we will do that next time. With that, we will move to new business. The one case for us tonight, case RZ03-2023, Huck's expansion rezone. This is for the commission to consider a petition by Martin and Bailey Incorporated, DBA Huck's Convenience Stores, requesting a positive recommendation to the town council to rezone property from residential 3.5 to commercial community on the west side of Walnut Street, south of Broadway Street, to accommodate an expansion. So with that, Adam, if you would take us through the presentation, it would be much appreciated.
All right. For the record, I'm Adam Zaklikowski, the Town of Fortville Planning and Building Director. So the case before you tonight involves a rezone for the Huck's gas station. It's approximately 0.33 acres that would change from residential 3.5 to commercial community to accommodate a proposed expansion of the convenience store and the parking lot. And this is located on the west side of Walnut Street, south of Broadway Street. Huck's is purchasing all of 426 Walnut Street. The home would remain and would be resold. And the area to be rezoned is a portion of the lot for the expansion. A lot line adjustment or a replat will be done as well. So if we take a look at the aerial photo from Beacon, you can see the area in question is what would be rezoned. And if we take a look at the oblique aerial, you can see the location of the gas station, of course. This is looking west, and the home that's at 426 Walnut. Now, if we take a look at the zoning map, the current convenience store is actually residential 3.5, a portion of it. Now, this was a zoning map that we inherited from Hancock County when we took over planning and zoning. So obviously this rezone would take care of that as well as the expansion area. If we take a look at the ground photos, of course, I'm sure most of you are quite familiar with Huck's. And then here's the area to the south in which they're looking to expand. And then here's a zoomed in photo of the home itself. So this particular exhibit shows the area that's cross-hatched in pink here would be the proposed CC zoning, and then essentially shows a concept plan, although they're not seeking that at this particular meeting for approval. It would just be the rezone. But this is, you can see how it would be expanded southward. We can always refer back to these exhibits, of course, if necessary. These are the proposed exterior elevations of what would be a refurbished Huck store. And there would be a door on the south side of the building that the public could enter. So as I mentioned, the current zoning boundaries would be cleaned up as part of this. The original request from Huck's was to rezone all the way to High Street, including the home, and demolition was contemplated. However, staff felt that it was prudent to keep the well-maintained mid-century modern home from 1946, especially since there was no need to tear it down for the expansion. And additionally, keeping the home in place acts as a suitable buffer to the existing nearby residential homes, and the ordinance itself prevents demolition of the home. Staff is supportive of the expansion as it will be an investment and an improvement in the current Huck store, and we are appreciative of Huck's willingness to work with the town. And note, even if this rezone is ultimately approved by council, they will still need approval from the BZA of a use variance, which would be to allow an expansion of a non-conforming gas station use in the Old Town overlay and some development standards variances. But in order to keep the project moving efficiently, this will appear at the variances would appear at the December 28th BZA meeting, and then the rezone would be finalized in January. The request does not involve approval of the site plan package, as I mentioned. That would come at a later date, likely in January. So the project went to first reading at Town Council, the introductory reading of the ordinance, and that occurred on December 18th. And council appeared to be supportive of the request, including the reduced home boundaries and keeping, or I'm sorry, reduced rezone boundaries and keeping of the home. In terms of the community response, all public hearing requirements have been met. That included a sign posting, a mailing to nearby property owners, and newspaper publication in the Greenfield Reporter, all as required. And there's no known remonstrance at this time to this action. So if you recall, for rezone cases, there's an evaluation criteria that you're asked to consider per Indiana law. So we'll go through each of those. So the first one is this action consistent with the comprehensive plan? I'd say yes. The town of Fortville growth concept map from March 2016 identified this expansion area as commercial. So if we take a look at that, you'll see that it includes the area of this expansion as commercial. Secondly, is this rezone consistent with the current conditions and the character of current structures? I'd say that yes, the area to be rezoned is empty land. The keeping of the historic home and keeping its current zoning in place is also consistent with the comprehensive plan text, which states as a goal, quote, develop zoning ordinances that preserve and enhance the character of Fortville's neighborhoods, enable sensitive, economically feasible maintenance, and adaptive reuse of historic buildings, and respect neighborhood form and patterns, end quote. The third one is this action consistent with the most desirable use of the land? I'd say yes. The comprehensive plan identifies this area as commercial, and given its location within close proximity to an existing commercial use, it would appear to be the most desirable use of the land. And then lastly, number 4, is it consistent with conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction? I'd say yes, that a well-planned project with a high degree of aesthetic enhancements will maximize property values. And additionally, keeping a building of historic value will maximize property values. Actually, there's a 5th one. Is it consistent with responsible growth and development? I'd say yes. And really, it's the same response with the previous evaluation item number 4. So with that, my recommendation would be that the Plan Commission grant a favorable recommendation to the Town Council for the rezone based on the ordinance as presented. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to address those. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Very much appreciate it. Any questions at this time for Adam?
Of course I do. So my question is, the existing historical house that's there, is that an owned house or a rental house? currently?
Owned.
It is owned,
Correct.
okay. And then my second question is, would you pull back up the comprehensive plan? I think it's the future or what, I'm not sure how you stated what you call that one.
This one.
Yeah, and there's no way to blow that up, is there? I guess my
Not
question
easily.
on that is there any current that's zoned CC right now that is that far back? I know that's what we want it to be, or we'd like the comprehensive plan, but is there other businesses across Broadway currently that push back into that R 3.5?
Somewhat, but there are, what I can tell you is there are no commercial areas that go all the way to High Street
Okay,
per the comprehensive plan.
okay, all right, that answers my question then. All right, that's all I have.
Any other questions for Adam at this time?
Adam, the space between the end of the new parking lot and that house, it looks like you've got a 6-foot gap before the fence. And then how wide is the landscaping going to be? And how tall is that fence going to be?
Well, first for the 6-foot setback from the house to the new property line, that would be the minimum setback that's allowed in that zoning district. Let me just log in one thing here. The landscape buffer would be 11 feet wide, more or less. And then the height of the fence hasn't been determined yet. I would assume it'd probably be 6 or 8 feet, whatever's allowed in the commercial center zoning district, which if I remember correctly, downtown, you can go up to 8 feet there.
Okay, and what kind of lighting are we looking at in that parking lot? My concern is at this point, you're going to be like beaming lights into the owner's windows
Well,
because you don't want to have a dimly lit.
right, right.
parking
Yeah,
lot.
lighting for the parking lot, to my knowledge, hasn't been proposed yet, one way or the other. you can, we can certainly ask Huck's. We'll get to him.
Just to clarify, right, we should probably consider this as a blank. We shouldn't look at the site plan per se. We'll get to that, I think. Tonight, we're really just, to truly look at it, we should look at the pink as a blank slate, and are we willing to rezone the property? And then we will get into and have teeth on the actual concept site plan at a later date, should this continue, right? Correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so, well, I think it's appreciated that there was a proposed site plan shown. That is not being litigated tonight, and not something we should probably dive too deep down in. But I think that's something we absolutely need to discuss.
Well, then are the owners of that home here tonight? Okay. Are you gonna ask to speak during public comments? Do you have an opinion on this?
I told her, you buy it all, or you don't get anything.
Okay.
Um,
So let's hold that, I suppose, for after the petitioner comes up, and if there's comment, or if we want to discuss as a board, we can certainly do that. Anything else for Adam at this time on the zoning request itself? Okay. Well, if that is wrapped up, if I'd like to move to the portion of the meeting where the petitioner can come to the front. Anybody who would like to speak on behalf of this request. If you'd like to do so, please come to the front, say and spell your name and how you represent the case. Do we have someone on the call who would potentially like to discuss as well
yes.
on Zoom, not in person?
This is Troy Dietz. Can you hear me? I'm with Huck's.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I'm the vice president of real estate, and I think Paul Okerson, our store manager, was there in person, and I was joined by Zoom.
Excellent.
And
Can you spell your last name for us? I know we've got it on Zoom here, but just so we've got it on the meeting minutes.
okay, it's Dietz, D as in David, EITZ.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
And yes, we were moving forward with requesting to rezone the part that we were going to do our improvements. And so I mentioned in last Monday's first reading that I didn't realize we could rezone part of a parcel. That's why our original request was to rezone the whole thing. But we were really looking for approval to be able to rezone, that we could do the improvements that, even though that's not decided tonight on the plan, that we did show that in there. So that's our intent, to take our improvements to that point, put up the fence, put up the buffer. And I know this isn't the time to speak of the lighting, but I would mention it that, we have close neighborhoods in a lot of our stores, and all new LED lighting, they will point down. They do not shine out on any adjacent property. So that's taken into consideration with any lighting. That'll be shown when that part gets considered.
All right. Thank you.
So can I ask a question of the gentleman on the call?
Yes.
So just to understand, is that house are you purchasing the land all the way back to High Street, just not asking to rezone it?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
So I assume that there will be the parcel will be split. So there'll be separate parcels that can be sold separately.
Right. We could either do a replat would be the most thorough way of doing it. Though in fairness, they could probably also just do a lot line adjustment. Since they're not really creating a new lot, they're just moving that south boundary. I've seen either done before, and I don't think we've made a decision on that one way or the other, but whatever makes the most sense. We'd obviously like to keep the project moving along.
Sure.
So.
Okay, I guess I'm a little confused. So just to clarify, there are 2 lots in question tonight to be rezoned. Is that correct? Or is that 1 lot and a partial of an,
Yeah, I understand. Let me pull up the in here.
There's one lot with part of it being rezoned, Seibert.
Okay, so what we're showing here is,
Yeah, it's being split. but they didn't rezone.
right now there are, between Broadway and High Street, there's two parcels that are recognized for tax purposes.
Okay,
Now, and a lot of times in the older area of town, there might be underlying parcels that are there that have been consolidated for tax purposes. And we do recognize those in the planning department as being one and the same in most situations. So they wouldn't be creating an additional parcel. It would just be moving that south property line from here further to about here.
and that's just to preserve the house and leave it in 3.5.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So there's two ways of accomplishing that. You can either just file a new legal description with Hancock County, and they can just move that blue line southward, or another way of doing it is you could do a replat, which basically gets rid of all those old underlying parcels and would just create two parcels and would show any easements. Each have pros and cons. Both are legal ways of doing it. So that would take care of the problem.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for the petitioner at this time?
After me.
Okay, we will move to public response for or against the project. In a similar manner, if you would please come to the microphone or speak up on Zoom, say and spell your name and your address. And at this time, I'd like to welcome anyone up for that. I'm seeing none in the room. Any online?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I'm Mark Dudley, a local realtor, and I represent Karen Kimberly in the sale to Huck's. I do think one thing that is good to point out is that it's a continued consistent use of the location, but an improvement by Huck's to the appearance of the overall neighborhood. And I don't think in any way it will negatively impact the residential area to the south. So those are just my thoughts on it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else on Zoom? All right, hearing nothing, see nothing in the room. I would move for government officials. Anyone in the room that would like to speak for or against the project is welcome to at this time. Seeing a shaking of a head, no. So we will move right through that. Thank you very much. At this time, if there are any questions for the petitioner, it's the petitioner rebuttal period. I suppose at this time, if we have any questions for the petitioner, we can do that, but hearing no remonstrance during this call, I'll leave it open for any other questions. Anything?
Nope, I don't.
Okay.
Nope. My only concerns were answered. I mean, regardless, like if the build for this ends up, going and making that house, not necessarily attractive, it'll still be owned by Huck, so they'll still be responsible for it until it does sell, which is the only concern I had.
Sure.
That was it.
That's a fair point, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I will move to, I'd like to request a motion from the commission to approve with conditions or deny the rezone of this property from R 3.5 to commercial community.
I motion to approve case number RZ 032023 for the Huck's expansion rezone as written.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, before we go to vote, any comments, questions, thoughts? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Hi.
None opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you for coming out tonight. With that, I will move to the conclusion of our meeting. Any board comments tonight before we wrap up the December meeting? All right, well, I will look for a motion to adjourn then.
Yeah, I will
Yes.
say something.
Definitely.
Tonight marks 4 years that I've been on the Plan Commission. And it has been wonderful being on Fortville's Plan Commission, and it has been an honor to be here. So I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity.
I think we owe you a thank you for your service. So we very much appreciate it. Those in the town and on staff, it's been a joy. So thank you.
And yes, I would second that. Thank you for your service, and we certainly hope you continue. Just another couple comments about the board membership. So first with Dan Justice, my understanding is that he may be having some health issues right now. I don't have much more information than that at this point. Jason Snyder, his term is up at the beginning of the year, and he has not opted to continue, and he wasn't able to make the meeting tonight. And then as for Mike, I'm not sure I didn't hear from him one way or the other, so not sure what the issue may be there. And then
I'm up.
Amanda's seat is up for
Yeah.
at the beginning of this coming of 2024. So obviously you've expressed interest in staying on, which would be great.
Yes, sure.
And
And who makes these decisions? Does it go back to town council, or is it a little bit of everybody?
town council.
Okay.
So I have to double check. Some seats are chosen by the council president, and some are chosen by all of the council members. It's all based on a very stringent criteria
Yeah,
in state law. So, and we did put out a notice to the public to see if anybody was interested in that. And I think we did get a few people in the redevelopment commission. I don't know if we got anybody interested in plan commission yet. So,
Oh,
we'll see.
all right.
Well, having a counselor in the room, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Thank you all for coming out. Before we move to adjournment, I do appreciate everything that this commission has done this year. I think it's a year well done. 2023 has been busy. I don't anticipate 2024 being any slower, but I appreciate all of your service. So thank you very much. All right, with that, I will now look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, meeting adjourned, excuse me, at 6:58. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Alex.
Oh, I did that last.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
You get that?